All right, Gor-Rok has been released as a whole. There's a lot of embargoes that have lifted. I unfortunately couldn't cover him in my embargo video. We were only allowed to release one today, but I decided to cover my awesome 2v2 with Turin, Gojira, and Jen on occasions. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. But I did want to cover the news of Gor-Rok himself coming out, the Great White Lizard of EVGA. Now let's take a look at this bad boy, because he's a thickin'. He's quite impressive. Now, when we're taking a look at some of this stuff, we can see from the Steam page what exactly he comes with. So, leading the faction of EVGA from the revered temple city of the same name, Gor-Rok strikes out with Lord Kroak to ensure the great plan is followed and that Lustria is cleansed of usurpers. A powerful defensive warrior, he has a number of unique skills granting him a range of bonuses, including perfect vigor, physical resistance, terror, and regeneration. So really, Gor-Rok has this pretty awesome kit of abilities, and you can really see that just from this little portion right here, that's going to make him a pretty huge defensive powerhouse. You can see him just whirlwinding his way through great swords over here, just chomping. I think those are supposed to be the Caribou great swords. I'm not really sure, but either way, he's kicking some serious ass, and in 5 days you guys can get your hands on him when he jumps into the full release. Like, look at this just jumping karate chop boom pound he's about to drop with the Shield of Aeons here. And we get a lot of really cool little teasers from the Steam page. We can see his entire skill line here. We can see that he gets all of the blessings, like he can choose them. He doesn't get locked out if he chooses one over the others. So he does get that. He has the Shield of Aeons as his quest ability. He does have his mace, and we'll see how that plays out. I actually haven't touched his campaign just yet. So when we cover him in the next couple days, just as a heads up, on Saturday, we will be covering Gor-Rok. I'll just do kind of a primer on his entire campaign, and you can just kind of see from a high-level overview without me diving into the campaign. This way it doesn't spoil it for you. Then Saturday and Sunday, we'll be doing the same thing for, Sunday and Monday, we're doing the same thing for Nakai and for Wolfheart. So you'll be able to get a chance to see what those guys are like. But we can see his stats right here. You get 100 leadership from all these benefits right now. These are not indicative of what he'll be like in, say, multiplayer or when you first start out. But you can see after choosing everything here, 125 armor, 585 weapon strength. It says he's a defensive lord, but I mean, 67 melee attack and 585 AP weapon strength, that's nothing to really scoff at. I mean, that can still do a considerable amount of damage. You can see he also gets physical resistance from these little icons, causes terror. It looks like also encourage, perfect vigor, obviously, regeneration, immunopsychology, hide in forest, but who cares about that? And then all of his special unique abilities, which are right here as well. Indie Pride did cover Gor-Rok in his quick battle, so if you do want to see his quick battle that he put up today, you can jump onto his channel. He has Gor-Rok and Marcus Wolfheart covered for today's reveal, so you can go ahead and take a look at what he looks like in action. A lot of people are complaining about the way he looks, his size, so on and so forth. My personal opinion, he looks pretty on point to me, and I'm reminded that anytime that Creative Assembly puts anything out, for the most part, when it's like something like this, like an actual, I guess he's an FLC, not a DLC, but an actual like linchpin draw of the game, it does have to get Games Workshop's stamp of approval first. So from what I have seen in my experiences with him, he's pretty on point with the actual model. And I'm pretty stoked to have you guys see him come the next coming days as we kind of dive into their campaigns and so on and so forth. But he gets a nice little buffet of abilities here. When we take a look at his actual campaign start, he gets right here in EVGA, and that's actually a pretty dangerous starting location. He's going to be surrounded by Skaven, but he does have some, at least some Lizardmen bros to the north. He does have some dwarfs on the west over here, but you know, as you go east and south, you're going to deal with dark elves. There are some more high elves on both the end of the peninsula and over on the far left side with the Order of Lore Masters, who are both like, oh god, we're so completely surrounded. But you do get a lot of lizardmen to at least confederate, ally, and trade with. But again, you are pretty much surrounded by Skaven. So you're in a pretty tough situation there, because Lord Skrulk is going to be hitting you hot and heavy with a lot of plague bearers. So it makes for a very interesting starting location for Gor-Rok, because he's going to have to be on the aggressive on the aggressive side pretty quickly. Now, he does start the campaign with control of Lord Kroak, which is pretty awesome. And it is kind of thematic right here. He's the defender of EVGA. Kroak eats a pizza. You know, all of it kind of blends together quite nicely. He gets the right of resilience, which grants unbreakable and defense bonuses for all Saurus, which is pretty nice. Recruit rank +3 for Saurus Scar veterans, which is pretty cool in and of itself here. So you have some pretty burly hero choices that are riding alongside Gor-Rok. And Scar veterans, we don't really talk about them as much as we probably should, but if you remember when Total War Warhammer 2 first came out, there was a real famous build in which, it was a strong Lizardman build, in which case you took Kroak on a Carnosaur and a Scar veteran on a Carnosaur. And you were able to just wallop your way through the majority of things. I mean, Lizardman, in the very first month or so of Total War Warhammer 2, had a lot of pretty gross advantages with how strong the Scar veteran is. So it's pretty awesome to see him getting a really sweet buff in Gor-Rok's campaign, making it for a good mobile hero, right? So Gor-Rok obviously is not going to have any mount choices. We can tell from this picture he has no mount choices, and I also know. But as we look at this as well, the Scar veteran does. So you will have Gor-Rok be able to kind of be that center linchpin of your army, while Scar veterans are leading your Cold One Spear Riders or doing flanking charges with their Carnosaurs. So you get a lot of mobility from those Scar veterans. That'll be pretty interesting to see. Now, as far as starting units, nothing crazy here. I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything crazy. I just would have expected just plain old Saurus, and that's what you get. You get Saurus Warriors, you get Saurus Spearmen, and you get Skinks. And again, having Lord Kroak, I think, is such a huge boon, and that's why I think that the initial challenge of this campaign is easy, because Deliverance of EVGA is going to be so disgustingly strong. And especially if you've got Gor-Rok here, which is not a caster, and you're not going to have access to a caster until you get some sort of event that'll grant you some sort of a skink priest, or grant you access to, or building a building that'll grant you access to a skink priest. This is a great way to utilize Winds of Magic in the early portions of the game to, like, absolutely devastating effect. So it'll be interesting to see how Gor-Rok's campaign itself fleshes out. I personally have not touched it yet, so I'm waiting to do that with all of you guys. In the coming days, like I said, we do have the Warpstone Cup that is going to start tomorrow. That is really going to be my big kind of treat to you guys, as far as a great display, I guess you could say, of the DLC, and that way you can see all the new units. You can see it all in a competitive realm, just like we saw with Everchosen. The grand finals turn is going to come over, and he's going to help cast those, so it'll be just like Everchosen 1 in one of our apartments with a dingy green screen that keeps falling over and all that kind of cool stuff. But in addition to that, throughout the weekend, you will be able to see Gor-Rok, Nakai, and Wolfheart's actual campaigns. Like I said, I'm going to do a 15-20 minute video on each one. You'll be able to see a high level and decide if that's the campaign you want to start when the game comes out itself. This way, you know, like I said before, I didn't want to jump into a campaign for 3 or 4 or 5 episodes and then just eventually leave it. I figured this is the best way to show you guys the campaign without me leaving you high and dry. I'm just going to show you, hey, here's a high level. Then in addition to that, I'm going to go over the Empire rework in the next week or so. And then on, I'd say, Monday or Tuesday of next week, that's the campaign I will start. I will do the Golden Order, and I'll play that campaign to fruition, because honestly, it's amazing. And I cannot wait to show off to you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's what we'll get into next week as we go through the rest of the qualifiers. Remember, Warpstone Cup qualifier number 1 is on the 6th, followed by the 10th, the 14th, and the 15th are the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, respectively. So with all this awesome information coming out, guys, I like I said, I promised to keep covering it for you, and at the same time kind of following what I have to do with Creative Assembly and my NDAs and embargoes. So I'm trying to be fair to that, but at the same time still deliver the news that I know you guys are all super excited for. I'm stoked even just talking about this. Like, I can't wait to really show off the rest of it to you guys in the coming days here. But as always, thank you so much for watching here. If there's any questions you have about certain mechanics, I will answer them to the best of my ability without kind of going overboard. So please feel free to go ahead and ask below. I'll do what I can to, I guess, cover any questions you have without, I guess, breaking any agreements I've got. But I don't think I will at this point. But as always, guys, again, thank you so much for watching here today. Again, let me know below if you have anything else you need to know. But as always, have a good one and take care.